We're doing two NBA player props here on PrizePicks for Friday, June 13th, NBA Finals Game 4. Crucial Game 4 in this series. Coming off 2-0 day or night on Wednesday with the YouTube video. We cashed on Tyrese Halliburton fantasy score and Chet Holmgren fantasy score. So again, 2-0 on the NBA Finals Game 3 video on Wednesday. Looking to replicate that here tonight. Before I get started, you guys, take a look in the description below of this video. Hop into the Discord, $9.30 per month, 31 cents per day is what it comes out to for the full 30 days. Currently doing a promo right now for first-time members of the Discord, 20% off your first month using promo code TUFF with the link in the description below. Comes out to like $6 for the full first 30 days in the Discord. So again, link in the description below for that. Also, you guys follow me on Twitter at ToughPicks. Recently just posted an NBA pair here, or sorry, MLB pair over on Twitter, but I do post daily plays of the day over on Twitter with full write-ups. So again, link in the description below for that. But let's not waste any time, you guys. NBA Finals Game 4. OKC, Indiana. This game has a 6.5 or 6-point spread here. It was actually 5.5 for Game 3. OKC was favored. Now OKC favored here again by 6. Again, I think we get another competitive game. We saw how close the game was in Game 3, just back and forth. Super exciting game, honestly, for the NBA Finals. I think if you're just a pure basketball fan, you really did enjoy that Game 3. But let's not waste any time, you guys. Let's just get right into it. The first play, I have to back Shea here, the league MVP, in literally probably. This is a must-win for OKC. Like, you can't go down 3-1 in the NBA Finals against this Indiana Pacers team. I think it's just going to be super tough here. So I think it's a must-win for both teams, really. I think, obviously, if OKC can win this game, the momentum of them going back home for Game 5. Again, if this series could go 7, but this game for Shea is kind of, I don't want to say legacy-defining, but season-defining for him after he didn't really play well in that Game 3. We talk about Shea for Game 3. Obviously, the usage was there. I don't think he was super aggressive or as aggressive enough in the first quarter, which I think he only ended up with like 6-7 points in the first quarter, which he plays the full first 12 minutes of the game usually. 9 for 20, 24, 8 and 4, 3 blocks, which is great to see, but 6 turnovers, which is, I think, a playoff high for him. I don't think he's had 6 turnovers in the playoffs. I mean, pretty uncharacteristic of Shea, who doesn't usually turn the ball over too much. But we look over on RotoWire here. In that game, it was considered a tough game for Shea. Obviously, he still finished with 42.6 fantasy points, right? With those 6 turnovers, only taking 20 field goal attempts. I'm expecting him to just continue to be extremely aggressive. Indiana did have a good game plan for him, but we know there obviously is a counter to that. Mark Dagnall and OKC, their kind of data analytics team, is great at game planning and making adjustments. And again, this is the league MVP here we're talking about. For Shea, over on Outlier, again, you can get a 7-day free trial with Outlier with the link in the description below of my video. Again, great research betting tool. I use this tool every single day. But Shea this season, when he plays 38 plus minutes, again, he did see, 42 minutes in Game 3. Again, probably going to see 40 plus minutes easily tonight, but let's just say in 38 plus minutes this season, he's over this line in 15 of 25 games, averaging 56.7 fantasy points. Going back to last season, was over this line in 13 of 18, averaging 58 fantasy points. But even coming back to here, head to head versus OKC earlier this season versus Indiana. At Indiana with earlier this season with 38 minutes, he had 73 fantasy points. This is earlier this season. And even just look at this hit rate versus Indiana over the last 2 years: 54, 73, 56, 55, 65 in Game 2, and then 42.6 here. But I just got to trust Shea per 36 minutes this season, or over the last 19 games. He's averaging 50.5 fantasy points per 36 minutes, 32.8% usage, 1.4 fantasy points per minute. Again, it just has, I think, the highest floor of any fantasy points per minute player. Obviously a must win. Obviously season-defining game for Shea. I like this spot a lot here for him. The second play I'm looking at here is going to be Obi Toppin over 18.5 fantasy. Again, if you're looking at the Pacers lines across the board, was looking at Benedict at 16. I think it's a little low, but at the same time too, OKC is expected to make significant defensive adjustments to kind of limit him after he did score 27 points. But we look at kind of Game 3 and how it went for Obi Toppin. He played 28 minutes, which is massive minutes. Thomas Bryant was pretty much out of the rotation at 3 minutes. 28 minutes for Obi Toppin. He was highest plus minus on the floor, plus 18, right? Which tells me he obviously was super effective while he was in the game. Rick Carlisle believes in him, and they need him on the floor as kind of that small lineup big. He even saw some minutes over Miles Turner, right? So he is seeing 28 minutes for Obi Toppin is so much upside for this fantasy score line. We look at Obi Toppin again, overall an outlier. Link in the description below gives you a 7-day free trial. This season over an outlier, right? 18.5 fantasy score. He's over this line in 46 of 98 games, averaging 19.2 fantasy points, right? That's just what it is across the season. 47% hit rate, not the greatest, but he played 28 minutes. Just say he plays 21 minutes in this game. Over this line in 27 of 30 games when he plays 21 minutes. 90% hit rate when he plays 21 minutes. Again, he doesn't even play 28 minutes. He's only played 28 minutes in 5 games this season, and when he plays 28 minutes, again, let's just do 27 because then that's going to show up. When he plays 27 minutes over in 7 of 7 games, averaging 37.2 fantasy points. Right? I mean, he finished 21.7 fantasy in game 3, and again, in that game, he wasn't super aggressive. He also went 0 for 3 from the 3. And again, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. I just think there's too much upside for Obi Toppin if he's going to see these type of minutes. Let's just even break it down to if he sees 22 minutes over in 23 of 24 games, averaging 27.8 fantasy points. Even going back to last season, over in 28 of 36, averaging 25.1 fantasy points per 36 minutes this season. Obi Toppin, let's filter this to at home, I guess, real quick. Per 36 minutes this season at home, Obi Toppin averaging 34.3 fantasy points, 1.1 fantasy point per minute. And it's just a ton of upside for Obi, right? I mean, talking about just the kind of line he would need to clear 18.5 fantasy. I mean, just something like 11, 3, 2, and 1 with 2 turnovers will clear the over on this line. He's done that in 17 minutes. Like, even if going back to Outlier again, this is why Outlier is such an elite tool. Let's just say Obi Toppin plays 17 minutes. Over in 46 of 73, averaging 22.5 fantasy points, which tells me there's just too much upside here for Toppin in this one. So 2 player props for this video, you guys. Please drop a like. Hopefully we can continue this 2-0 little NBA Finals run. Check out all the links in the description below, and as always, let's cash.